Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 2. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Greg Gray and his passion is to help others succeed on the online business. He has been developing and implementing training since the early 1980s and have been coaching and mentoring for over 30 years. He has a knack for simplifying the complicated and helped hundreds understand how to build successful business online. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Patience. How are you today?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Okay. I know my clan here, they're anxious to hear your story. So let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, what you did before you started the online business?
You bet. I started my work career very, very early in life. And so into college, I kind of thought I had found a sweet spot to go into retail, into management there in sales. And so I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed working with people and everything, but I didn't enjoy that whole environment, but that was probably one of my early discoveries in college working that I really enjoyed working with people. And so everything I did after that kind of expanded on that. I took an odd job choice when I left retail. I went and worked for a couple of major defense contractors doing something called dimensional metrology, which is just a fancy name for the science of measurement, right? So I worked in that for a number of years, and what fascinated me about that was the fact that it was an early application of high-intensity computer use is what we did. And so I really had been fascinated with computers since my early days. So I left there in engineering and went into information technology. And in IT, I played the role, a number of roles, really. I played an application development manager. Now, my cat is going to participate with us, Patience. I hope you don't mind.
No, we'll enjoy.
She's kind of vocal, so every once in a while you're liable to hear her in the background. She's just saying hi to everybody.
Hi.
But in information technology, I was an applications development manager. I was a coach and a mentor and a trainer and a project manager for many years. So I do like order and method for things. I learned that in that career and spent the last couple of decades in the world of jobs, which we all know is just over broke, right? In my world of jobs, I went to, a number of hats that I wore, as I mentioned, but I loved helping people throughout the entire time. And so starting back in retail, I started building training courses and mentoring courses, and that worked through my engineering career. I worked with contractors. I built them courses to be able to help that. Once I got into information technology, one of my very first jobs was training and coaching and mentoring people in various staffs. And I worked from anything from small corporations and companies to very large multi-billion dollar Fortune 500 companies at the end of my career, to where we worked on extremely large projects. Probably the last decade that I worked, I didn't work on any projects that were less than about $5 million annual return for the company. So big stuff, big projects, big groups of teams of people to work with. And so that's kind of where I left off. I left off making well into six figures, kind of enjoying the work, but being a little frustrated with not being able to help people as much as I was helping companies, if that helps you give you a little perspective and background.
That's a great background, Greg. Tell us one thing that we want to know about you, even if we have been following you for a while.
Ha! Oh, interesting. So a personal tidbit, I guess. Um, well, okay, how about this one? I'm an amazing golfer. I rival Tiger Woods. No, no, I don't. I'm actually a terrible golfer, but I do have one claim to fame, and that is when I was 9 years old in a little course in Houston with a friend of mine. I was playing, and it just came down, starting a driving rain on this par three out there. And I struck the ball beautifully, felt really confident about it. We go up, and like I said, it was starting to pour, so we're just trying to find the ball and get out of there. Get up onto the green, can't find the ball anywhere. I knew it had landed on the green, and it's in the hole. So I have a hole in one in golf, which is something a lot of golfers can't claim. So even though it was when I was 9 years old, I'm kind of excited about it.
You should. Okay. How did you go from where you are, where you started, to getting involved in online business?
It's a great question. I'm always fascinated with how people make a transition to entrepreneurship, right? Because I had been in on the job scene for years and years and years, and I made a comfortable salary. We did just fine. What would drive me away from that, right? And I think it's seeing the companies care more about the companies than care about the people. And that's really what kind of drove me to look for it. For these Fortune 500 companies, these large corporations, I had been working in projects I mentioned that were rather large for the last decade. And some of the online applications for selling products and services that we built made those companies in excess of $2 million a day in revenue. Now, that doesn't mean they made $2 million a day, but they brought in $2 million a day, and they made a significant portion of that in profit. So I started looking at that and thinking, gosh, if these guys can sell their products and services for what they do online, and I can run these teams of people to do this, then surely I can do this myself. And so my first step was to kind of look at how it worked for an individual. How could individuals make money online? And I actually spent a couple of years exploring how to do that. And it wasn't easy. I have to tell you, it was a struggle. I felt like I had to, I'd buy something, or I'd buy a training material, and they'd want to sell me something else to tell me the next step. And then they'd want to sell me one more thing to tell me the next step. And it was very, very difficult to just isolate it and break it down to how you make money online. And when I had that breakthrough, when I had the epiphany of, okay, this is really how it works, it was because I'd had a mentor kind of share those last pieces of the puzzle with me. And so as I looked at that, it really became about how can I help other people? And in the job world, I could help people, I could coach, and I could mentor people, but I couldn't do that to the exclusion of helping the company. The company always had to come first in the company's eyes. And so I felt like I could go into the online world and help more people. And that's really what drives me. I mean, my faith kind of drives me. And so that's, the primary tenets of my faith are to love God and to love people. And so if I really wanted to help people, I felt I could do that in the online world and be able to explain things and save those 2 years that it took me to learn things, save that time for other people and help them out.
Okay. Did you have any setbacks or failures while setting up your online business?
Oh, absolutely. Goodness. Yeah, but the big ones I think are one I just mentioned was the difficulty in trying to figure out the process. It's really only 4 simple steps, and I figured out how to break that down and share it with people. But my biggest failure, I think, was not recognizing that I needed to do something I was passionate about, not just making money online. And that's where I see most people fail. And I understand it. I understand it completely. We weren't in a situation where we needed, a financial boost. That's not where we were. But for the vast majority of people, patients, and I'm sure you're aware of this, worldwide, the economy is horrible. It's terrible. And so everybody's looking for a few extra $100 or $1,000 a month or something to be able to do. They may not necessarily want to make millions, but they want to break even. They want to help their families a little bit. And so my biggest issue was the one I think most people experience, and that's focusing just on making money. And I ended up doing a couple of things early on that were horrendous failures because I wasn't passionate about it. For example, I started selling Amazon products initially is how I got started in making affiliate sales. And I remember the excitement of my first sale. It was a Spider-Man Halloween costume that somebody had bought because I'd referred them for something else, but some customer bought their child a Spider-Man Halloween costume. I made $3.08 all those years ago. And I remember the excitement about making the money. And so I kind of went down that path to try to do it. And I absolutely hated it. I hated it. It was a miserable failure because I couldn't put my heart into it. I was not passionate about it. And so that was my biggest failure, I think, patience, is to not focus on the right thing early on.
Regarding that setback, and how did you feel? How would you describe what was going on in your life, in your business, to your closest friends and family?
Now we're getting personal. So I felt like a horrible failure. I'd kind of boasted to my friends that I was going to go off into this entrepreneur world. I'm going to walk away from this great income that I have, and I'm going to replace it right away. And I, I felt like a failure. I felt like, gosh, what was I thinking? Why did I leave the job world and all that security and things like that? And I'm out here all alone. And so the biggest issue I felt was loneliness. In the entrepreneur world, we're all alone unless we have a coach or a mentor. It's all up to us. In the job world, you've got other people surrounding you, and you talk to people every day, and you're in an office, and you communicate. For the most part, some jobs aren't like that. But in my world, it had been that way, and now it was all up to me, right? And so I felt very alone, and nobody else understood this business that I was starting, that I was doing. And so that was probably the biggest hurdle for me.
I know my client would love to hear how you overcome this, and we are going to talk much more about this in our extended interview. But tell us, did you make it through?
Well, I'm glad to say I did. We did make it through, and I'll be excited to talk more about it later.
So, what is your focus or specialty online?
Well, it's really born out of what we just talked about. The sense of failure and trying to figure out where I needed to go. And I really went back to my passion, and that's helping others. And so my focus is really the coaching and mentoring, and sometimes that's through video training. I do have a few video training options for people to kind of get them started online. But for the most part, it's really about how can I help you as a coach or a mentor in a one-on-one situation to be able to get past those hurdles that you've got that are kind of standing in your way. What are the roadblocks for you, and try to clearing those things out. So my specialty is kind of working through people to find their profitable niche, to identify what their passion is and kind of align those things and move them forward with all the rest of these elements of how to work in their online business. So would you mind if I share with you, what I think are really the only 4 steps to make money online?
That would be great.
Awesome. So what I do, I love to break it down for people, and it really is only 4 steps to making money online. It is to identify your passion, and that is just find out where your heart is and align that with a profitable niche, right? And so I call that second step defining your community. And so your community is a people of like-minded people that identify with your passion, that are spending money somewhere, right? And so if you can identify a passion where people are already spending money, you're well on your way to the third step, which is engaging your community. And then eventually, after you engage them, you build a relationship with them, you can earn the right to advise your community. Now that's market to them, sell them something. So it's IDEE, idea, identify your passion, define your community, engage your community, and advise your community. And that's really all it takes to make money online. So many people never make it that far to figure it out. And my specialty is to be able to help them through coaching and mentoring discover those 4 steps and how they can work for them.
Okay. My clan is a group of hungry entrepreneurs looking to move their business forward. How can your expertise help my clan? What do you do for people?
Well, it's kind of clear up any of those areas, any of those 4 steps that people need work in, and maybe a little technical help along the way. I can definitely help with those things as well. But to me, it's more about helping and coaching others. So I do have a coaching program that people can learn more about. Now, if you're just a beginning marketer, I do offer some information to get you on the right track to learn about that. And if you want somebody to hold your hand and walk through these steps with you, I have the coaching and mentoring program as well. And so both of those are available.
Okay. Do you have something today that can help with our online success journey? Something to make the road a bit smoother for us?
I think it's probably the mentoring program. If you're struggling at all, then the coaching program is really going to be for you. Now, some people use this simply to get me to help identify where they should be working online. For a lot of people, that's the hardest step, patience, to take what you're passionate about and figure out, is this just a hobby where, nobody's really spending money at it, but do I just love this? Or is this a viable business opportunity? Do I love doing something? And it can be the craziest things. You would think that your passion for woodworking, you may just think that's a hobby, but a lot of people want to learn how to do woodworking, for example, right? You would think that perhaps how you started your dog walking business is, although it's something you love, you may not think that that's a profitable enterprise online. But yes, sharing how to create a dog walking business is probably a profitable niche online. So being able to walk people through that, I think the coaching program is probably something that would help smooth the road out, the journey for most of your people.
Okay. Where do we find this fabulous product?
Excellent. Well, you can learn, even if you're a beginner, you can learn more at gregrayonline.com.
Okay. Clan, Greg is going to hang out and share more information about his journey with us. If you can relate to where Greg started his travels so far, or if you just want to learn about Greg, you can listen to the extended version of his journey, even more tips to help you with your own journey. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com. So, don't forget to check out Gregory's product at gregrayonline.com. Well, we have more information about a link to the offer at onlinesuccessjourney.com. And if you are not part of the clan, you should be. Greg is offering bonus discount and more to members of the clan, which is 20%, right, Greg?
It will be, yes.
Yes, so please join. You can learn more as well. Join on onlinesuccessjourney.com and you'll find all our future podcasts. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. See you in part 2. Patience and Gregory.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. so make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the online success journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.